how do you stay on top of things like that?
Have a really good producer.
Yeah, okay. Like outdoor shooting in general, like for
You
anything.
kind of just have to be ready. You pray, you do this, and you make sure that you want. And it's funny, like when you want rain, you'll get sun, and when you want sun, you get rain. It's just like sometimes you just get totally screwed. That is like the mastery of like really good editors, is like finding those little tidbits, and Tom is really good at that.
Like some of these kids who are starting at like they might be like 11 years old and color, color grading.
Yeah, we're cooked. If you want to stay relevant and you want to stay like keep creating new and exciting things, you have to be curious.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Cut. Today we got Will. I actually covered one of his videos a couple weeks back, and finally got him on. So he's doing a lot of amazing things out west, from obviously making these cool videos to creating a little community of creatives, and doing meetups. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and let's get on with the breakdown. All right, let's do this.
You've always done more in 7 Mesh. Gone further when others have turned back. For a decade, we've created apparel that's as unconcerned with limits as you are. Now, we're pushing even further. Into new landscapes free from the constraints of a single path. Introducing the Guardian Collection with Gore-Tex EPE. Built on chasing what's just out of sight, rain or shine. Beyond any one sport, the ultimate in waterproof, breathable protection. Ultralight, packable, versatile. Designed and tested in the coast mountains of British Columbia. For the path ahead, whatever it brings. The Guardian Collection by 7 Mesh.
So this took 8 months, right? From like not obviously straight. There was, I guess, spots in between. Was that because of just the treatment? You wanted to shoot in different weather?
Yeah, so 7 Mesh approached me probably in like June 2024, or maybe in spring 2024. Aiden, who works there, who I'd done a project with before, and he's like, "We got this jacket we're coming out with. Can't say much more." It was a new product for them, and he's like aiming to shoot in the fall. So kind of time went by, and then he kind of briefed me on the idea of this jacket, because for 7 Mesh, they've always been more of a biking brand, and this was the first time they're kind of diving into like the multi-season, multi-sport kind of do-it-all jacket. So that was really the core idea of the product video, was like showcasing multi-season and multi-sport. So we shot the mountain biking first in Braylorn. Well, all the mountain bike footage in the fall is in Braylorn, which is like about 3 hours from Squamish here. And then we had a couple different shoot days in the winter. So yeah, we had one mountain bike day, one ski day, and then another day of shooting trail running and gravel riding. So that's is 3 days of shooting over, yeah, something like between October to March, something like that.
You talk about the loss of momentum. Like that's tough.
That was tough. That was the biggest. One of the biggest challenges with this project was like, you know, my producer Shalen would get things going. We'd get our talents ready. We'd get the product in hand, and then we'd get our locations, and then we'd do a day shoot. And then you're like, you fire up and you turn it off, and then you're like, okay, in 2 months we're gonna have a ski shoot. Same process. We fire it up. We're location. We're getting our talent. We're getting the product again, making sure the sizings are right. What other shooters do we have? And then it's like turn it off again. And that was really tough, was the momentum. And then between that, we have like a longer form short like film that we did with one of the ski athletes in this video that was like adjacent to the product launch. So we are also shooting that at the same time. So it was like we're jumping on this product launch video, and then we're also shooting the little short film that we're making. So it was like, okay, we're on this one, we're on that one, we're stopping, we're going. Like, yeah, so finishing the shoot and finally getting our last day of shooting in the spring for trail running and gravel riding. We're finally like, okay, now
Yeah.
we're done. And then post production, Tom Bourget out of Quebec took on the edit for both. So then it was also like him working on the product launch one, getting feedback for that, him starting the short form video, getting feedback for that, and then just like leapfrogging that. And then also color, and there's also sound. So yeah, like it was
Dude,
one of those
what?
projects that just felt like it was never ending because it was on such a long span. Like usually it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we have a week shoot or 3-day shoot, and then
How do you stay on top of things like that? Is it and it does that
I have
fall
a
on
really
you?
good producer.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, like, you gotta lean on the producer to be like, okay, cool, because you're probably creatively in your mind, you're like, I just need to creatively. It's so hard to like turn off and then check, turn it back on for different, just in general. But then to do it from different project to project is like, okay, and then you're like, okay, where were we with this project? What's
Definitely.
you
And
know?
also like keeping in line with like the style that you started with. I was directing this. I was also shooting kind of like C-cam, but for the first shoot, I had Graham John and Scott Secco come out. And then it's like our next shoot, neither of them were available. And Scott doesn't really shoot skiing, so I brought my friend on, Seth Gillis, to shoot the skiing portion. So it's like you're shooting with different people and you're, you know, trying to keep a similar style too. So like making sure you brief your shooters on like what we've done, showing them footage of what we've already
Yeah,
shot and trying to stay within that same style. And then for the gravel and trail running day, Scott came back out, so he already kind of knew where we had shot. So that was kind of tough. Yeah, like managing crews and like who's available and who do you start with, and you know, how do you kind of keep going with that? But thankfully, shout out to Charlene Brochu, like amazing producer, really good friend of mine. She just like crushed it, and she wasn't here for a little bit. Like she was in Austria working on our project on our first shoot day, so she wasn't actually physically there,
that
but
is
she like still kind of
crazy.
like produced it from afar. So
Wow, shout out to all the teams out there that pulled everything together, man.
yeah, like get the best people you know and work with those. Work with people that are like better at you. That like
Yeah,
people always ask me like, "Oh, do you do drone stuff and stuff?" I'm like, "No, like I'm so bad at flying drones. Like I will just hire somebody who's better than me and get them to do it because it's just the end product is usually better."
absolutely, absolutely. First of all, location scouting. Who's doing the location scouting for a lot of these?
The location scouting for this was kind of my idea. I had been to Braylorn before to go ride my mountain bike. I just thought it'd be a sick spot because the topography and the landscape is a bit different than what we get here in Squamish. We wanted to stay fairly close and local because if not, it would cost too much to like lodge people for X amount of days. Like, so we did spend the night before the shoot day in Braylorn, but they get like these really beautiful larches, like these yellow trees,
Yeah,
that which we don't get here in Squamish as much. Once you get into that area, like the vegetation starts changing a bit, and we wanted a fall looking shoot. My last campaign I did with 7 mesh we'd shot in Squamish. I was just trying to think of a different idea, and that we landed in this spot, which is the day was crazy. We got all all weather. We got sunshine, we got rain, we got snow, we got cloud. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of like the best shooting for this jacket
I feel like that's also tough to prep, though. You'll kind of have to be on your toes when that happens.
in terms of
Um,
weather.
yeah, like
Yeah, we
outdoor shooting in general, like for
you
anything.
kind
It's
of
like,
just
how
have
do
to
you
be
plan?
ready. You pray, you do this,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
make sure that you want. And it's funny, like when you want rain, you'll get sun, and when you want sun, you get rain. It's just like sometimes you just get totally screwed. But like if it was up to us, we would have gotten more rain on this day, I think, to really showcase the jacket. But thankfully, we got some periods of rain and some snow even.
and then like the race against time in terms of sun or whatever
Yeah, daylight
daylight,
is short
daylight.
in the fall, so definitely like that is a reason why I brought both Graham and Scott to come shoot. So like I Scott is the gimbal master, so I was like Scott's gonna be on the gimbal, getting all those nasty shots he usually gets,
Yeah,
and then Graham was mainly shooting. We rented a free fly Ember for the shoot, and he had shot with it quite a bit. So he was kind of manning that camera mostly. And then I have my Komodo X. So I was kind of like sea camming like little tidbit moments and like long lens or stick shots.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah.
was kind of like that was our crew. And then we had a photographer out there and then client and then the two Rogers. So it was like a fairly small crew, but like I knew this was like our one chance to get what we needed for this. And I knew that the bulk of the edit, like Aiden at 7 Mesh had kind of broken it down, like, you know, in terms of like percentage of like what they want to see in it, like mountain biking versus skiing versus trail running
Okay.
and gravel. And like I knew that mountain biking was like more than 50% of like the action that we wanted. So I was like, okay, if we only have a day shoot, let's get like the cameras firing.
For the product, these jacket shots, how are these done? These and even where is it here?
Yeah, those were all done in the same spot. You nailed it when you were talking about it. It was really I have a photo I can send you,
Oh, for
but
real?
it's there was like a cut down tree that was probably 6 or 7 feet high that we hoisted Scott onto. And then all we did was just I had like a big 6x6 bounce that we just put on the ground to just like kick just a bit
The
more
light?
light underneath
Yeah.
so it's not as dark because it was like full sky and then like dark ground. And I think the sun must have been coming off the side
Yeah,
like
like right
of the
here.
hill. So all we just had Scott just toss a jacket, and then we had the free fly Ember being operated by Graham, and he was just like shooting straight up into the sky, and just like it was really just like a pray something cool happens, and
Dude,
the
that
like
is
the
crazy.
focus was like at the right spot at the right time. So yeah, like that was an idea I had for this shoot. I love the idea of like this kind of like mannequin-esque falling thing that
It's my
um
favorite of the whole thing, just because it looks so different. Where is
it
this?
looks so weird and different, and like that was the main reason why I wanted the Ember to be on the shoot was for these shots. And then yeah, Tom in the edit just I
Reverse
told
it.
him I was like, go crazy with them, like put them reverse, flip them around, like do whatever you want, like really get them looking weird and crazy and like very different.
I love it. These are my favorite, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're freaking rad. The Ember's so fun to shoot with for that kind of stuff.
I love, like, anyone, I love watching Ember footage. It's just of so many it could be the most mundane thing, but it makes it look so cool.
It's
Like, I'm
crazy how
like,
slow mo does that to it.
yeah, like the detail in it. And I was talking to another creator, old TJP, and he does a lot of Ember stuff. And he was just saying like he just loves shooting random things and then looking back. And then you don't notice so many different things. He was shooting a pelican and he didn't realize that the eye, when they blink, it's like multiple eye,
It like
yeah,
closes in different ways.
different
Crazy.
ways. So then when he looked it back, he was like, "Oh, this is cool." You like notice so much detail. So I love it.
I would say with the Ember, like I wish that we had shot more with it. Like in my mind, I was shooting very specific shots with it, or like Graham was capturing like bike moments. But there's a part in the edit where the jacket, I think you kind of brought it up. You were wondering if it was CG or not. Like
Oh,
halfway
was it
through the
the
edit,
wall
that
right
shot
here?
there, Graham was just shooting product details with the Ember. And it was just like the sun was coming. That was like right after the snow. And it was kind of like snowing and raining a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, thankfully, he got those shots. Like,
These
I
are
like
yeah. Like, look at
these are
this.
some of my favorite shots. They just look so crazy.
That's why I was like, "Is this like I?" It's so clean. That's why
Mhm.
it's so clean.
Yeah, and, like, that definitely made me be like, "Next time I have an Ember on set,
Yeah,
I wanna
only
shoot more
Ember.
things." Yeah, only Ember. Just, like, shoot more stuff. Like, I would have never have thought of shooting kind of product details like this with the Ember, because you can just do it with, you know, my Komodo at 48 frames, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, it'll look the same."
But
But,
it's
like,
like
there's,
that
like, this weird
feeling.
yeah, like, this weird feeling, and you get to play it in slow-mo. I have this one shot I never made into edit, but it's this angle, and there's, like, a snowflake that, like, falls, and it goes like,
Okay,
"Dum."
see, I think stuff like that. I still feel like that's just stuff that you could post as a
Mhm,
content creator. Just that
mhm.
one shot. You don't even have in your caption. Just say like, "Hey, this didn't make it to the cut. Like, do you guys think that this should have made it?" I guarantee you that just that one clip, it would go off. and it's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. Like you're
Mhm.
talking to me about it. Now I want to see it. Now I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
gotta send. Like I gotta see
Okay.
the shot.
Okay, I'll post it.
But I feel like that's I don't know. That's the cool stuff. Dude, yeah, like look at the details in it. Yeah, I feel like you need to do a whole Ember shoot.
There's a couple shots we did some CG work on.
Yeah,
The
because I
very
saw
last,
VFX. You guys have a VFX
yeah,
person. I was gonna
VFX,
ask.
like half at the first third of the edit where it's like this top-down drone shot. Yeah,
Here,
that one. We shot this and I knew I wanted to add rain into it, but it wasn't raining, so we added some 2D rain on both of these shots. It's pretty subtle. I kind of wish you see a bit more in this shot. Like you see it well if you watch it on YouTube, but if you're watching on your phone, like it's not, the raindrops aren't like big enough to really notice.
I never
But
didn't
it's
notice.
just like a little subtle thing, like even if people don't really notice, I know it's there and it's a cool little add in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, so that's what it was.
Hmm.
Dang, that's cool, man.
And then we added some clouds on the very last shot where Buddy puts his hood on and then camera
Sitting
tilts
down.
up and yeah, like all those clouds are VFX.
Wait, hold on. Which clouds? Like all of them? Like all of this?
Not the back. I don't think the background, but the big dark one
This
is
one?
because the sky was too clean. Like it was too nice out, and
You needed some texture, some
I
like
needed just like something to justify him putting his hood on.
that makes
So
sense.
in VFX, I asked Dan to add some dark looking clouds, and he just had a little thunder rumble and Bob's your uncle. You know?
That is crazy. I didn't like that small detail is so cool to me.
Yeah.
What?
VFX is super fun. I haven't done much of it, but like what people can do is really rad.
And I kind of never don't really want to get into it myself because I feel like I love just being surprised and not knowing how to do stuff because it makes it fun for me. So you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my god, like this. I know people are like, oh, it's just clouds, and people who do VFX might be like, oh, but in my head, I'm like, what? What do you mean? This is all just put in
Yeah,
there. It looks so
and that's like
flawless,
my favorite type of VFX. It's just like
subtle. Yeah,
it's something you can't do on site, and you're just like, oh, I wish this was just slightly different.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like in movies, constantly we watch. It's just VFX central, so it's like they're
Yeah, it's
constantly just
everywhere.
being like, oh, we weren't able to shoot in that day. We're gonna change the sky. Like I think Scott really inspired me to do more of it
Oh
because he
yeah.
does like a ton. Well, he's done a lot in the past. Like he's done some crazy raindrop things. And he's done like sky replacements and he always tells me about them. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I've never like really worked on a project where I wanted to do it. And then this one came about and I was like, oh, I think there's some opportunity here. And it just adds like a little thing. Like I
It
don't want
does.
VFX to take over the show, but like when
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
just
yeah.
make it just it just makes your product just slightly
Look
better
better
or like a bit more believable.
for
It's your
sure.
storytelling, you're trying to make the audience believe that it's a stormy day.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it adds like it might not be a whole like 20%. It adds like the like 2-3% to make it better, and then like you keep
Mhm.
adding those things, and then the sound is oh man, that's so cool. Choice in like colors for like jackets and stuff. You guys, did
That
you get
was
to
7
choose?
mesh. Those were the 2 sample colors they had, so that's
Oh,
what we were
okay.
stuck with.
Would you have
I
changed? Would you have wanted a different color? Now
I
that you
really
said,
liked the red a lot, like,
yeah.
really pops, and I think it contrasts well with the blue. The blue actually looks quite nice in the skiing stuff. Yeah, even so Brit here with the blue jacket, like the nice matching blue skis. I was like, "Ah, yeah, it all looks nice." So these 2 jackets are like technically they're both the 7 mesh Guardian jacket, but one's like an ultralight version, which is the blue one, and the red one's like the more standard like thickness.
Oh,
So the
okay.
blue one's like very light, and then the red
Oh.
one's just like a standard weight. So that's why we kinda had both of them in the video.
Now that you say that, it's like the weight of it, the lightness. I think that's what makes it also those shots of you guys tossing it up,
That was also the idea behind that was just like the weight and the
floating.
the
You're
floating, yeah,
yeah, weightless. No, that's cool.
totally.
These two shots back to back. I
That
love
was
this.
that was tumbles and mastery, like, I we went through a bunch of rounds of feedback, and we had this shot, and we had a different shot going out of it, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like, the transition from bike to ski doesn't really work, like, I feel like we need a better transition." And I was like, "Oh, maybe like a ski slash or something," and then he pulled this clip out, which is like it seems like it's the same exact, like, dirt flying
Exact
into
same.
ski, and I was like, "Damn, he really nailed that."
Yeah,
Like that one big chunk of dirt
right. Yeah,
flying is like
right
essentially
here.
just, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I I kept watching it. The
Oh yeah,
matching
it's a
of it
little
for your
pine cone.
yeah, the matching of the eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, he crushed it.
and it's just so. And I was like, why does this work so well? And it's just that it's like,
Well, the thing too is that the ski shot, like, if it wasn't for the shot before that, probably wouldn't have used it. Like we probably had some
mm,
better ski moments, but like that goes to show your like amazing shot might not always be the best shot for that moment, when
for
it
this,
comes to the edit.
yeah,
Like
for the
finding
sequence.
like a little tail shot like there that would usually just stay on the editing, board floor, like that would actually make it. That is like the mastery of like really good editors, is like finding those little tidbits, and Tom is really good at that. And this was the first time I worked with him, and I'd seen his work before. I'd worked on a project with a buddy of mine, and Tom was the editor, and I remember seeing the edit being like, "Whoa, who is this guy? I need to work with him." Like, and as an editor myself, I was like, I usually edit my own stuff, because it's like project and you like make a bit more money and like you can take on the edit if you have time. And I like editing my own projects, but I was like, for this, I was like, I want the Tom signature on this, and I think very much so he did.
Killed it.
Hmm.
Killed it. Like
Which
that's
kind of like goes into like working with people who are better at you at things. It's like
yeah,
find people that inspire you and try to work with those people.
for sure. It just elevates the whole project overall.
Totally. Because it's very easy, especially when you're starting off. It's like it's so easy to like, well, you just end up doing it all and you get used to doing it all. And I think with age and like, experience, you start realizing, okay, this person's better than me at this, or like, oh, I really like their style. I want to work with them. So it's just kind of like surrounding yourself with people that you can kind of pull from. It's like, oh, I really like this colorist. Oh, he's really good at sound design. Like, have a good relationship with that. And it's like the more you work with those people, the more it's like, sometimes you don't have the most high paying project, but you really want this person. You're like, ah, like, you want to do this? Like, and they're like, okay, like for you, I'll do it because I like hanging out with you.
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, thank God,
Hmm.
I'm cool enough for someone to want to jump on a project like that. And
Hmm.
you know, what's I'm thinking about this now. It's like the people who are getting into it now. I feel like the age is getting younger and younger.
Hmm.
Like some of these kids who are starting at like they might be like 11 years old and color, color grading or like learning. I'm like,
Insane.
I used to play outside, and that's all I wanted to do at that age. But now, by the time they get to like 21, it's been like 10 years of experience, and you might be working with them. Like you might,
Totally.
right? So that's why I feel like it's so cool to see these creators who are younger getting into it, and then being able to like just see their growth in a couple years, and then people working with people. Man, it's
Yeah, we're,
crazy the
we're like
talent
we're
coming out now.
cooked. Like,
No, see, I think that's what you say, but like they probably might look at your work and be like you said, you wanted to work with that person. What if there's
mhm,
someone who's like, I want to color correct for Will, like I want to
mhm,
on his neck, I want to VFX for him because he has some cool. Works both ways,
totally.
So, but yeah, they're getting better and better, man. Some of these
Well, it's like the
kids,
gear is so achievable now. To
yeah,
your point, you can shoot on your iPhone, it's like use what tools you have and be creative with that. It's easy to get bogged down in the gear show, but you really don't need it.
yeah, especially now, it's so accessible. I hope you guys enjoyed that video breakdown. Me and Will have this cool conversation about just creativity, creatives, and the work life of a commercial director. So if you guys are enjoying it up to this point, please like, subscribe, and check out all of Will's stuff. I'll link it all down below. Let's get on with the conversation.
Yeah, yeah, just talking about the kind of like the aspect of like people getting together. Like Squamish is so full of amazingly talented people. And I kind of had an idea like a year and a half ago to start what I call the neighborhood creatives, which is like kind of just open to anybody who's kind of into creative space or is wanting to get into it. From illustrators to producers to filmmakers to photographers, like really anybody who kind of calls himself a creative or who kind of embodies that creative world.
Yeah.
We kind of started, myself and two other friends here in Squamish, Alice and Spencer, organizing some creative meetups. So it's nothing complicated. It's really just like a meetup and getting like a bunch of people that we know and like hopefully people that we don't know to come. and just meet and chat. And it's kind of, we've done 3 already, and we're like planning to do another one in November, kind of like quarterly.
Oh, that's cool,
Because Squamish
man.
doesn't really have that, like, like people are super outdoorsy here, obviously. So there's like run clubs and ski clubs and climbing and biking, but like there was definitely a need for like more creative, mingling and concepting and all that jazz. So
The sit
anyway,
down
that's
creative stuff, like the not so physical stuff. I feel
definitely.
like yeah. How many people are meeting up?
Well, our first one was pretty banging. Like I think we had like 40 people come out. Mainly like our friends and like close, second tier, like, oh, I know who you are. Maybe we've never met, but cool, thanks for coming out. And then the second one, I think because like summer's come around, like wasn't as busy. Maybe there was like 15, 20. And then the last one we did like end of summer. I would say there was like easily 50 to 60 people who came out. Um,
Dude, that is crazy. That's
so
actually amazing.
yeah, and there was a
What
lot
the
of
fuck?
people who I'd never seen before or met, and they're like, "Oh, we came up from Vancouver. Oh, we came down from Whistler. Oh," like, so it was really cool. Like, I was jazzed to see people that I don't know, because like that means it's kind of like reaching a broader kind of network, which is cool to see.
Definitely. I think what you guys are doing actually is like, especially now, like you said, people love the behind the scenes stuff, but I think everything is shifting towards the in person connection, like the actual meetups. Like that's where I would love to take these podcast episodes. I would love to do it live or like on, if I visit, I want to do it with Scott and like not necessarily on a shoot, which would be cool because I don't want to be
Mm,
interrupting. But if I'm out there and I have you guys like on a panel and just people coming together, we talk about your work, kind of essentially the same thing. And maybe that's a perfect opportunity for if you guys are hosting and doing that, I could come through and just talk to you guys and stuff
definitely.
like that. That would be cool because I think now people want that connection ever since the pandemic, and it's just kind of cool. And to get 60 people off the bat, that's insane for your third one. Dude,
Yeah, it
that
was
is
kind of
insane.
crazy. We keep thinking like, "Oh, what could we add?" Because right now it's really just like a meetup, like come hang, chat, talk about what you've been up to. Because like as freelancers, like you do easily get stuck in like, your own world and your own projects and your own, spinning of like, am I ever gonna work again? Like it's really slow, that kind of jazz. So
The worry.
yeah, it can get quite like scary sometimes that you're by yourself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like luckily I have like a good network of people that like I can easily talk to about those things. But I think that is super helpful to just to get yourself out, like we spend time editing and all of a sudden you're sucked in and you're like, oh, like it's nice to just go out and like we don't go to a physical office, most of us, so
Yeah, and you're like, I haven't seen a person in like 4 days. Like, I haven't
yeah.
actually been around a person. This is stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like I
nah.
walk my dog and I see my fiance and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then like, as great as it is, it's like you kind of just want to talk to other people, especially creatives or people going through the same stuff. But
Yeah, and
dude,
like
no,
the
that's
struggles of
amazing,
being
man.
creatives, because I think online we see a lot of like, the final product. Like your page is a great example of it. It's like we're kind of talking about somebody's final product and how amazing it is or what we like. And it's like we don't see like, the hours being like scratching our heads about what's our next project going to be, the emails we
Yeah.
send, the meetings we have, you know. I try to be very vocal about, if people, I think it's super easy to be like, "Oh, how you been? Like, how's work?" And being like, "Oh, yeah, all good." But like, I know I'm usually like with people I'm comfortable with, I'll be like, "Yeah, it's been pretty slow." Like,
Yeah.
I think it's like important to talk about it because I think everybody goes through it. Even some people that look always super busy. It's like I've gone through busy periods of my life and I've talked to people and they've been like, "Oh, it's so dead." And I've been like, "Oh my God, I'm so fortunate to be working right now."
Yeah.
So I think it ebbs and flows, and I think it's important to talk about because people can get stuck in ruts and never feel like they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because freelancing is hard. Like you have to be very mentally resilient to, push
Yeah.
through it.
And it's like it's your livelihood. When you don't know if you're gonna have steady income in like 2 or 3 months, you're already thinking about like what's the next project. For you is, you're I guess even at any point, was that tough like creatively when you're working on a project and you don't have another project lined up? How much of that is like a big worry where you're like, does that interrupt the creative flow with the project that you're working on
Do you mean like if I'm on a project and I don't have anything lined up
lined
after
up
that kind
after?
of?
Is that a worry?
Yeah,
Or was
I
that a
mean,
worry, I guess, before?
it's hard, like, the way I get work, like, sometimes it's, like, 2 weeks out or a month away or,
Mm,
if I'm lucky, it's 2 months away, and th so I'm kinda used to being, like, having a project and just hoping one rolls in after, and it's definitely happened, my spring was quite busy, like, in January, I was like, "Oh my god, it's so dead," and then February came in and it was like, boom, and then February to June was just, like, back to back, I traveled to Quebec, I traveled to Europe, and it was, like, super busy, and then June came and it was like, halt. And then thankfully I had like a bunch of post-production work on that 7 mesh piece. Tom was finishing the edit and I had some more things to kind of like finish on that. So that took me through and then some other production post-production work. But it's kind of weird. It was just like a crazy halt after I had been so busy with production since February. So I try not to get too wrapped up in like what's next. It's like I try to focus on what the task at hand is
yeah.
and, like, if there is another shoot after, then I'm, like, excited to be like, "Okay, I'm finishing this one or I'm hopping on the next one." And I like being busy, and I like kinda feeling that, like, goal.
What is, like, the most important skill, you think, for being a commercial director?
I think having a really good background in editing is super important. I was fortunate enough to, like I mean, from a young age, start shooting sports, like our friends skiing and mountain biking,
Yeah.
and that's kinda how I got into it. And so you edit your own videos, like, nobody else is doing it for you. And then through time, you just keep doing it, and then eventually I was fortunate enough to work for a company called Sherpa Cinema as an editor in Whistler, and I did that for 3.5 years, and I, like, really stepped up my skills working for those guys because they had high expectations of the quality being put out. Every edit I worked on, sometimes I would work a month on a 30-second piece. We would get it to 90%, and they're like, "How do we get it to 95, 99%?" You know, tier. So it would be like editing, getting a good spot, and they'd be like, all right, tear it down, start all over again. So like that, having that in the back of your mind when you're shooting and understanding where things can go and how one shot can roll into the next, and you're already doing a bit of an edit in your mind, I think personally saves me a lot of time on set. Like I'm not out there overshooting in a certain way. Like, it's like, oh, I got my establishing shot here. What would the next shot be? Okay, that will work into this shot. Okay, we could do a detail of this. So, I think as a director, already having an idea how the edit is going to play out in your mind and understanding what shots you do and don't need is super helpful.
I feel like, in terms of directing in general, like, just knowing all the language of all the departments, so helpful, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm still kind of learning that for sure.
So it's cool because there's so many different departments you could learn from, but yeah, editing for sure. Pacing and then, like, understanding, so you're not shooting a ton.
Yeah, because that's what burns you the most in a day. Like, a great example of it was I was shooting a commercial with DAGLC. It's like the alcohol, gambling, liquor conglomerate in Alberta.
Mm,
Last year, Harrison Mendel was DPing it with me, and at first it was two 15-second spots in uh, a day of shooting, and it was already a big ask. Um, and then the client was like, "Oh, I think we should do two 30-second ads in this 1 day shoot." And our backs were kind of up against the wall, and we're like, "Well, we don't really have a choice. This is happening, so we have to make it happen." So fortunately enough, we had a bunch of time for location scouting. So him and I kind of went out and shot an animatic of what we thought would be the final edit for the 15s. And then so it's like me and the producer, like, you know, it was like a proposal scene, and then there was another one where it was like a hiking scene. So there's a funny animatic that I've been thinking of releasing next to the final product. I
Yeah,
thought
you
would be
have to.
funny. But that was super helpful because we realized that like we didn't need that many shots for the 15 for it to work. So that was like, okay, like Harrison, his background is the same thing, action sport, documentary kind of shooting. So it's like he's really good at capturing on the fly moments. So we're like, okay, if we can do that and capture a little extra, the 30 shouldn't really be an issue. So like that, knowing your edit pacing and understanding what shots you need kind of saved us there because we were able to go out and figure that out and be like, okay, like it's gonna be a big day. It was a 16 or 14-hour day,
Damn.
so it was long, but we got it done, and yeah, it was fun.
Those days though, like, when you tell people like, yeah, it's a 14, 16-hour days, like how fast do those go by especially when you're on a crush? Yeah, right. You're
So
like,
fast.
you're like, we need an extra 4 hours here, please,
Yeah,
please. That.
super fast, and you're just kind of like boom, boom, boom. But that's when you see, like, everybody's dialed. Like we had Harrison got his grips and gaffers to pre-light our last scene, and thankfully, our last scene we were shooting in the hotel we're all staying in, so it was like
Oh, that's
nice to
perfect.
end there. It was perfect. Like
Yeah, yeah,
location really
yeah.
knocked it out of
Just
the
straight
park
to
there.
bed.
But
Nice.
yeah, I do remember like finishing that day and just being so mentally exhausted. Just like because you as a director, you're the kind of the leader of the ship, and people are leaning on you to make decisions. And it's like I'm still getting better at that, figuring out, where to put your energy and what not to get bogged down on and what to like put your attention to. And then the relationships of like, with your crew, and then you also have the agency, and then you also have the client. And it's like making sure that you're going to see these people and making sure everybody's okay and everybody's happy. And then you go back to your crew and make sure all those guys are happy, like I wanna make sure I'm happy working with a happy crew because, like, then
Yeah.
people are more motivated to, like, "Okay, like, an extra half hour, sure," or, "Oh, okay, like, we're moving this, it's a bit of a pain in the ass," but, people are generally happy and wanting to do it.
I do want to ask you because you are like commercial director, versus being, and just because we're talking about it, like content creation. That's a whole other thing. I see two sides of it. I see content creators, and then I see, people in the where it's just my work. I'll post once every couple months. I just want this to be my like profile. You're not worried about. Obviously, you'd love a lot of eyes and views and stuff, but you're not following trends, or you're not like, I have to post every single day. How has that been for you in terms of like work or getting your work out there? Um,
Mm.
do you find that
You
it's
like you
tough?
mean, like, on social media?
Yeah, like the content creator social media game versus
Mm.
like the commercial director social media game. I feel like that's
Yes.
two very different, and a lot of people battle with it.
Yeah, I would definitely not consider myself a content creator, and I wish I was better at it. I think people definitely do get more work out of that. I don't know, it's just, like, not the way my brain functions, like, getting stuff out that quickly, and, like, I, like, sit on things for so long before I actually, like, execute,
Post, yeah.
which I don't know if is a good thing, but, like, yeah, my social media is, like, quite quiet. I post reels of, like, things I like and photos, but actual posts are really just, like, my latest project, and I kinda, like, try to keep it as clean as possible,
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
just looks kinda like if you were to go on my website, you'd see the same thing as what is on my social media. So, I never really got into the content creation kinda game, and I am kinda envious of some people that do it really well. I think it's a great avenue.
Yeah, it's tough for people to really get into because they don't know, and you have like a certain way that your feed looks. You want it to just your work to speak for itself, but like you said earlier, so many people love the behind the scenes stuff, and I think it's because there's a personal connection to like, oh, this is Scott, this is Will, like, you know what I mean? I feel like when people start posting the behind the scenes stuff, there's that human connection that, like you said, when you guys started this creative community, it's because that's the creative connection. So it's like, why don't creators, more people who are in like the directorial world, post more about their personality? Because I love this stuff. Like this is why I feel like we're cool
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, um, so it's
Yeah, the
tough.
content creation is always tough, like, you have a great point, like, people do like to see it, but it's just like, my personality is not like, "Hey, look at me and look at what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And I'm very like I've always kind of been thought of like the cool people I like are the most humble people. I think it's like, some of the people I look up to the most are like the most humble people. I think people do want to see a side that like they don't see on social media and like the behind the scenes. And the production agency that represents me in Toronto, they're always like, Will, you should really do some more behind the scenes and some content creation stuff. I'm always like,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Get
I
out of
really
here.
probably should. But it's like I'm not one to like talk. Like I like doing this. I like having
Yeah.
conversations with people, and meeting new people. But I don't particularly like having my phone, selfieing myself or
Yeah. But
whatever and talking. But I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I'd get myself out of comfort zone. But it's like you're always like
yeah.
scared of like, oh, what my close friends going to think or like whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's. I'm like, oh, that must be so cringe to watch.
Cause it's cringe. It's cringe to watch yourself. So you're like, I know my friends
Hmm.
are gonna message me later, be like, dude, what the
Yeah,
hell was
what was
this?
that?
Yeah, yeah, like this is weird. I think you're mixing up because I'm not thinking that you're in front. Like I'm just saying like the behind the scenes, like when you are on location or on set, it's like if you do have someone recording behind the scenes stuff where you could kind of like just match up behind the scenes where you don't even have to talk. Like you don't it's like
Mhm.
I don't want to be selfieing. I feel like Scott does it so well.
Super well.
He does like he'll have from one shoot, sometimes he'll have like 4 different things like coming out from it, like the
Mhm.
equipment. You have a rental thing. Like I would
Mhm.
love to see maybe it's like, okay, here's the arsenal of what's going out today, what we're using. I feel like people, your audience would love that. I'd be like, this is what, and then you can connect that to like the rental stuff. I feel there's so
Mhm.
many different ways I feel like you could do it
You're
where
right.
you're not in front and like you could be comfortable where like I just want to share what's cool and what's going on. Like, okay, why are we using some of this? Maybe it is a voiceover. Maybe you're like, I get it, man. Like, if you don't want to be on camera, like, why are you gonna force yourself? And then you get so weird when the camera's like, you turn the camera on,
Yeah.
you're like, hey guys, and they're like, who the hell is
What's
that?
up? What's up, YouTube?
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, this is not even going on YouTube. I don't even know why I
Yeah,
said that.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, I
yeah.
have thought of that. Like, funnily enough, I was talking to my buddy. He's like a rep for Oakley, and he was showing me these like new Meta
Oh yeah, the
glasses,
glasses.
and
Oh, that would be cool actually.
oh, that's a really good idea. Maybe you should get a pair of those Meta glasses and just like film behind the scenes from my POV.
I think if you have fun with it, because doing new stuff like that will remind you of why you did like new equipment. Is probably when you're starting out and you get a new piece of glass, or you get like you're like, oh, I can't wait to fucking shoot out here with this. I feel like doing stuff like that, or like, okay, what are these glasses? Like, then you can start making content out of that. I feel like if you put the
Mhm.
fun back into the behind the scenes or the content creation, maybe it might spark, or
Yeah.
maybe you're like, this is definitely not for me. I suck at this. This is horrible.
Yeah, at
But
least try before
right.
saying you suck at it. It's also
Wow.
like the bandwidth of like, okay, like now I've shot this content, now I have to edit it. It sounds stupid, but yeah, it's always these like little things of like, or even just like the bandwidth of being like, you're going on a shoot and it's like you're already loading all your gear and like, okay, now I have to shoot content of this. And it's like, but I think that's where the industry is. Like, people want to see that stuff. And if you do want to like get more eyes on your work, that's kind of the way to do it.
I know it's like you're so set in how you probably have your process of equipment checks and doing all this stuff and loading and like then you're like, oh man, I have to do this, but I don't know, maybe it's getting into that groove or maybe it's hiring someone else with you to kind of do that for you. It's a lot.
Yeah, because like how many hours a week do you spend on this?
Like the podcast itself.
Podcasts and social media and
Honestly, the podcast is like maybe like 2 days have to record from recording to like just cutting it up and then cutting up all the short clips. But now I'm hiring like an editor to kind of help me because I'm trying to
oh
pump
nice.
these out more often.
Yeah.
And then all the short form stuff, I batch everything. So I just have videos that I'm like I saved, and then I'll sit down on like a Sunday for maybe like 2 3 hours, and then bang out like clips, and then edit. So I try. That's the reason why I started it because I wanted to do social media, and I wanted it to be something that because I also like freelance, I edit or I consult. I still have a job. It's almost like I just needed a strategy to just do everything in one shot and still enjoy it. So, and I still enjoy it now. It's like it's not taking so much time. I love talking to you guys. So, like this doesn't even feel like, oh, work.
You must really like editing if you're doing all these videos. I feel like that you get really get jazzed on watching these edits and kind of like
Yeah, I do. I do. But like, cause I don't shoot anymore. I don't do any of that stuff. I took a long way. I mean, it's such a weird like journey for me because I stopped creating videos for a while because I stopped loving it. And then when you stop loving it, you're like, man. And then I started doing photography because it was kind of felt like in the same realm. And I was like, oh, I kind of like doing this. And then by doing that, it got me back into video. But I still like wasn't up for making stuff. But I still like had a passion for it. I still love sharing like some of the things that I like about it. Why do things look like that? Watching movies and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I still want to be able to share that with people, like the joys of it. And if I could like one teach people, and two make the people that I'm like covering feel that like, wow, someone saw my work. Because you probably remember when you're starting out and you make the best video you think you've ever made and you put it out and nobody watches it, it's the shittiest feeling in the world,
Classic.
right? And then it
You're
kind you
like, this
kind
is
of
gonna be
like,
sick.
yeah,
And
you're
you're
like,
like,
yeah,
crickets.
I'm gonna exactly. You're like, everyone's gonna see it, they're gonna love my stuff, and then so my whole thing was I remember feeling like that. So if I could kill two birds with one stone, where I could teach people, but also promote people and feature people that deserve it
Right.
as well, it
It's
makes them
such an
feel like,
amazing idea,
dude.
Kevin. I think it's like to that point exactly, like making people seen or feel seen is like because the industry is so funny. Like the amount of projects I do, and you finish a project and you're like stoked on a project, and then you never get any feedback from the company sometimes, or most of the time you never get any feedback from the client. And they'll you'll send a video, they'll be like, okay, cool, thanks, and they post it, and then like maybe you'll get work with them again, but like there's never like a post-mortem where they're like, we really like this, we didn't like this, like awesome, like it's very like it's nearly like thankless, it's
Yeah,
transactional. It's like, we're
that's
paying
what
you
it
to do
is.
this and you gave us the product, thank you very much, see you later. And as artists, you're like, we're very emotional people, and you're just like, oh, did they like it?
Yeah,
You know? So
heartbroken.
for like on your to have somebody like you who like actually watches a video and gets hyped on it and is like, how did they do that? And like is kind of thinking about it, I think is awesome. Like I remember when I first started content, I was like, I hope one of my videos gets on Kevin's feed one day. Like that would be cool. So I think it's really cool what you're doing. I think you should be really proud of yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It feels good, I think, when I could give that to them. Like one guy, I there's this small creator, and obviously I cover so many different creators. Like, your work is very professional, but I'll also cover creators who are like 15 years old who are just getting out
Mhm.
there. And I remember covering, I think he was like 19, and then I covered one of his videos, and it's not like it was shot on his phone, but I appreciate that stuff, the little stuff, the creativity behind the person. And I remember him posting on his story, like he was like, I can't believe I made it to this page. He sent it to his mom, and like for that to be like, I'm just a regular dude who enjoys videos, but for it to mean so much that I saw it with my eyes means actually so much to me. Like it's
Mhm.
cool. And
For
for you to be
sure.
like, I sent it to my mom, I'm like, that's the coolest shit ever. Like this is why I want to do this stuff.
Mhm.
So
Well, you're
yeah,
validating people's work.
yeah, their
And it's like,
creativity.
you're probably just like, "Ah, I'm just Kevin and I live in Toronto, like, I
Yeah,
like
I was
videos."
just
And, like, it really shows that anybody can do it, but the way you build your platform and got people hyped and, like, the body of work that you've pulled, like, you've set a precedent. So he's probably seen videos that you've talked about before that he's really liked, and all of a sudden his work's on there, and he's like,
it's
"Holy
yeah,
shit, like, look at
yeah.
me, I made it on the same page as Kevin." So I think it's like, yeah, I mean, the fact that you're curating your page so well and like choosing the right edits to talk about, like definitely validates it for a lot of people. Like for myself, I've seen tons of work from my friends, including Scott, on there, and I'm always like, oh yeah, like these are things that should be talked about, and like I think people are curious about. So yeah, I think it's really rad what you're doing and kind of getting people's work to be seen in a different way than just being posted by the company.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, and that's what it is, cause like, and it's crazy to hear that you say that, cause it's, when you do it for a company and it's kind of just transactional and you feel a little shitty and you're like, did I do a good job? And then they don't say anything. You're like, I don't think they're ever gonna work with me again, or like, what could I have done? And which I feel like maybe more companies got to take a page from the book of like, have someone like enjoy the video as well. Have someone enjoy it, not just like, great, thanks, we're
Yeah.
gonna send this off and whatever. It's like, man.
Yeah, it's, I don't think we're winning that battle.
Yeah. Well, like I was, you know what? And I'm hoping to change that because I've talked to some of the people who are on the podcast that are doing more of like commercial work, or they're on set, or they're working with different agencies and companies and brands. Like I wanted to take the podcast, on location, live, doing things like that. So being able to go out and maybe just be on set for a day or a couple hours, shoot some behind the scenes stuff, I think does more for. And then imagine coming back, I'll edit it, and it's like when you guys release your videos, oh, there's an actual behind the scenes with me and you on. We're joking around on set for like a little
Pretty
bit, and
sick.
like I'm asking, and I feel like more people would buy into the brand itself. Obviously, you as a creator, but into the brand. Like, oh, these guys are cool. They had like this guy come behind the scenes, and this is how they treat the project. And I think that's where that gap is, or where we could fill that gap, is if more
Hmm.
creators, not just me, I'm like anyone goes into projects and shows like the human, the people, the creative people behind it that actually make it work, more people would buy into the brand. I feel I do. It's like I love when people do that. I love watching behind the scenes and you're like, wow, this artist. I watch a lot of like film stuff behind the scenes. So when a lot of cinematographers or directors are talking about why they chose this specific thing and the feelings behind it, I'm like, I love this movie even more, or I love this show
Hmm.
even more, you know? So
Yeah, because
why
you
can't we
get
do
like
that
the
with this?
backstory on it and the decision making, and all of a sudden it gives you a whole different new respect for the scene or like the location they chose or the
Yeah,
dialogue or anything that gives you a bit more insight. I think as creators we're always curious. You see the end product and you're like, how did they do that?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And we're curious beings. We have
for
to be.
sure.
If you want to stay relevant and you want to stay like keep creating new and exciting things, you have to be curious.
Any shows, creators, other filmmakers, directors, movies that you are watching right now that inspire you, that you would want us to kind of check into, tap into? It could be editors, it could be any type of creative,
Well, I mean, Tom Bourget, I'd say if you're looking to be inspired by editing, because he works on some cool projects, go follow him.
for sure. Any advice for someone who wants to break into commercial directing?
I'd say touch all aspects of production. Like, don't snob like producing or editing. It's just like you kind of have to understand all of it to be, have a good idea of where everything's going. Because that's really the job of the director is like you're the captain of the ship, and people are looking up to you to figure out what we're doing. So you want to make sure that you kind of have a good handle on all aspects of production, so you can kind of navigate that ship properly and have an idea of where you're going with it. Because if you don't know how something's going to be edited, or you don't understand cameras or lensing, then it's just like you don't really have a full picture, and that's really your job, is to have a full picture of the whole process and understanding what the final product is.